What we're really concerned about is the legitimacy of the sector in all areas. So we're talking about the work that they do, but also about their policy input, also about shaping the kind of nation we live in. I mean, if our charity sector is stronger and better at what it does, we will live in a better country. So for us, as an organisation, CCA is dedicated to building flourishing communities by enhancing the work of the charity sector. I mean, at the moment, we're employing about 1.3 million people, turning over about 146 billion, but our income is stalling. In real terms, it's going backwards, and the future employment of those 1.3 million people seems to never have been as uncertain. And we really don't have a plan for the future of the sector. So we really wanted to bring together some leaders in the sector and talk about, okay, how can we address having a better future for the sector and making sure that not only can we make a difference in the communities we serve, but that our organisations can survive and grow in effectiveness. Charities aren't valued in the same way the big industry groups are. Even though we employ so many people and turn over so much and make such a huge difference in the community, it's sort of taken for granted, and people are sort of almost patronising to the charity sector. And it means that in some areas we do get a seat at the table, but then along will come a big issue like an employment issue or a tax issue or a drought or climate change or other really big issues. And for some reason charities just aren't at the table or are not invited to be involved in the policy development. And we think we need to increase our legitimacy in terms of our capacity to contribute to national policies. I think we can build flourishing communities, but we need to be able to influence the structures around those communities. And often we're a sort of second or third kind of thought. You know, we think about business, we think about employment, we think about productivity, we think about the public sector, and then we think about charities. We think we need to be right up the front because we're the people that can make a difference. The charity sector doesn't talk about itself and its needs, it talks about the communities it's serving. So if I'm a charity looking after volunteers, I'm talking about what needs to happen for volunteering. I'm not going in there and saying you need to also support me so that I can do this job better. We often pursue our purpose rather than trying to make our organisation stronger. And that's where I think there's a legitimate role for a kind of peak body. We want our charities to be advocating for their purpose, and we don't want them to be self-serving, but we also need a sector-wide group that's saying, hold it a sec, you've got a sector that's facing a very uncertain future, is doing it really tough, and no one is advocating for that sector. Developing strategies that are going to work is going to take some time because there is no magic wand here where we can just sort of, wave it, touch the charity sector and all of a sudden it's valued and has a seat at the table and is properly resourced to do the work it's doing. We're going to need to work on that over time, and that's going to be hard work. But thankfully there's a lot of commitment to doing it, and I think people recognise that we're facing a small crisis now really in terms of the future of the sector, and I think that's galvanising people and bringing them together. The big danger is that we all come together, we do some work, we produce a beautiful document, and it's put up on the shelf alongside the other beautiful documents like the Productivity Commission inquiries into our sector in 1995 and 2010, neither of which really have been actioned. We want to make sure that whatever we do has impact, and that means it has to be living. It has to be something we return to and adapt and adopt. That means having measures and reporting against those measures, but it also means better messaging the role of charities and why this is important.